Bubble Bobble. It was the greatest game ever made back in 1985 when it was released, and still today, it is quite possibly one of the greatest games of all time. So what makes Bubble Bobble such an incredible game, you ask? Well, to start off, it's a fantastic story. Well, that was misleading. Although Bubble Bobble itself is a fantastic journey, it lacks any sort of reasonable excuse of a story. So flash forward a bit to the year 1993 and experience the missing story, told 8 years later in Bubble Bobble Part 2. So you're sitting under a tree, in love, about to do ye ol' in and out with your girlfriend, when suddenly this shithead demon shows up and traps the love of your life inside a bubble. He then transforms you into an adorable green monster, but you refuse defeat, and you fight on heroically to save the love of your life. It's fantastic, but the legend of Bubble Bobble is meaningless if the gameplay sucks. And I'm happy to say it most certainly doesn't. First off, you shoot bubbles at your enemies, entrapping them. Inflicting exact revenge on those evil monsters is beautifully ironic. But we're not talking about an arm for an arm, no, because simply trapping them in a bubble wouldn't be punishment enough. You then chase after them and pop them, causing them to violently spin across the screen and transform into a delicious vegetable, which you then devour. Maybe you might find it sick, but I love the thought that I'm eating my enemies alive. Also, if you take too long killing an enemy, he goes apeshit and starts darting around the screen. Take even longer, Death himself shows up to kill you. I tried blowing bubbles at Death. It's useless. It's important to remember that you're in a hurry, a race against the clock to save your love. So you better quit playing around and start blowing bubbles. This game has incredible level design, some with challenging layouts and others with nods to other popular video games. You know in Super Mario when you jump and you fall to your death? What stupid bullshit is that? In Bubble Bobble, when you fall, you loop to the top of the screen, an awesome feature that Mario games still to this day don't include. If you make it far enough into Bubble Bobble, you start finding more and more delicious foods, like a tasty cheeseburger, a milkshake, or candy. Long story short, Bubble Bobble is nothing but pure happiness in the form of an old NES game. Just take a look at Rainbow Islands, the prequel to Bubble Bobble. Before you had the ability to shoot bubbles at your enemies, you had the power to shoot rainbows out of your fingertips. How is this not the happiest video game of all time? The enemies are so huggable, and I've never seen a happier environment in a video game. Bubble Bobble was so legendary, it later evolved into another video game, Bust a Move. Not my favorite game in the series, but I'm glad to see that you're still playing with bubbles. Now you might look at Bubble Bobble and say, alright, it's an arcade game where you shoot bubbles and eat a bunch of food to get points. Who cares? Well, if that's how you feel, then I'm sorry that this game doesn't have fancy graphics and car chases and online matchmaking. But what this game lacks in content is made up for being one of the happiest video games of all time. This game series understands the meaning of life. To be happy. To eat delicious food. Sink your teeth into a delicious burger every once in a while, you know? Enjoy some ice cream. Blow bubbles. Dance on rainbows. Jump for joy. Fight for the woman that you love and never give up. This game has taught me that you only have one life, so make the best out of it.